Good morning, all. My name is Kushal Choksi, and I'm working as an assistant professor in Amiraj College of Engineering and Technology in the Civil Engineering Department. Today, our main topic, or today's lecture topic, is about the urbanization. Okay, so first of all, what is urbanization? What are the pros and cons of the urbanization are occur, or what are the current situation or current trends are going to place or implement in our home country? Okay, so before any proceeding, there are the three main topics which falls under the urbanization. The first one is to understand the urbanization trends of the state. Second, to understand urban management, governance, and the service delivery. And the third one is a Mission Amrut's priority challenges and reform for the state. Okay. So first of all, to understand what is the urbanization trends of the state. Okay. So if we are talking about the Gujarat state, so we all know that in the past recent year there are the high number of the urbanization are taking places. So what are the recent trend and the future trends of the state to understand the urban management or urban governance, which are done by the ULBs, urban local bodies, as well as the municipalities, and the service delivery, or what kind of the services they currently deliver to us, as well as they will going to deliver in the future. And the last one is a Mission Amrut's priority challenges and reform for the states. Okay, so first of all, what is urbanization? Okay, so the first question is, what is an urban area? Okay, so there are the quite difference between the urban area as well as the rural area. Okay, so first of all, what is an urban area? When more than 80% of the population are engaged in the non-commercial activity or non-agriculture activity, it's called the urban area. And the what is called a rural area, when majority or more than 80% of the population are engaged in the agriculture activities, is called the rural area. Okay, so we break down the definition in the very simple wording that when the majority of the people are engaged in the non-agriculture activities like the commercial activity, manufacturing activities, industrial activities, service activities, and other types of the activities. So in that particular area, when the majority of the people are engaged with the non-agriculture activity, it's called the urban area. And the rural area is the when the majority of the people are engaged in the agriculture area or agriculture activity, it's called the rural area. Okay, so the second topic is what is urbanization? Okay, so the people who are resides or who are living in the rural area are migrate to the urban area for the better living standard or for the better employment opportunity. So the migration process is called the urbanization. Okay, so the people who currently live in rural area are migrate to the urban area for the better living standard as well as the for the better employment opportunity. It's the migration process is called the urban area. Okay, so what third, why it happened? Okay, so why urbanization is taking place so drastically? Because all we know, there are the sudden improvement or sudden hike in the employment opportunity in the urban area due to the rapid industrialization phases. Okay, so a majority of the industries or majority of the service manufacturers or the or the employment opportunity are resides in the periphery of the urban area. So the people who lives in the rural area has a very low employment opportunity in the compare of the urban in the compare of the people who resides in the urban area. So for the better employment opportunity, the people who are currently live in the urban area are migrate to the urban area for the better employment opportunity. So due to the rapid industrialization, the people who lives in the rural area are migrate to the urban area. Okay, so there are the different pros and cons of the urbanization. The first advantage of the urbanization is that the people will have a more opportunity to work, and as well as they increase or improve their living standards. But there are the high cons rather than the pros. So there are the different types of disadvantages which are going to occur as of the urbanization. The first disadvantage is that we all know that the area or the periphery of the urban area is limited. So when the majority of the people migrate from the rural area to the urban area, they have the low per square feet living room, or a low per square foot living area. So there are the high congestion, and due to that, due to higher urbanization, there are the chances of the formation of the slums, which are going to take any metropolitan city. As we all know that Mumbai is the largest metropolitan city of of the India. So there are the largest slum of the Asia are resides in the metropolitan city of Mumbai. So due to the rapid industrialization or due to the rapid urbanization, the formation of the slums are occur. There are the scarcity of the various infrastructure facility, as we are talking about, there are the scarcity of the water supply, or the drinking water. There's a scarcity of the electricity, or different types of the sanitation services. So there are the high disadvantage of the urbanization. We are talking about the urbanization trends of the state. In the Gujarat, the one of the most urbanized states in the country. Okay, urban population of 2.57 crores, accounting for 42.58% of the state total population of 6.04 crore, as per the census of 2011. Okay, so the current trend or figure shows that the more than 42% of the people of the entire state are living in the urban area. So the declinal growth rate of the urban population is 35.83%. There are the urban sprawl comprise 8 municipality corporation. Okay, so there are the new words. What is the urban sprawl? So as we know, we are talking about the urbanization. So we got a basic definition of the urban area as well as the rural area. But what is the urban sprawl? The people who are living currently in an urban area, and due to the congestion or due to the congestion, the people moving from the central business district area to the central business district area to the peripheral area of the residing urban area, it's called the urban sprawl. So it is a kind of outgrowth in the vicinity of the urban area. So as we are talking about the Ahmedabad city, there are the different types of the urban sprawl are going to take place, like as we know the Shela, Shilaj, Nicol, Vastral, this type of the outgrowths are known as the urban sprawl, because due to the congestion in the main area, or due to the congestion of the central business district area, the people who lives at that particular location are migrate from that location to the outgrowth or to the periphery of the urban area. So the urban sprawl compromises the 8 municipal corporation. That there are the 159 municipalities, including 18 class A, 33 class B, 14 class C, or 63 class D municipalities. There are the 16 constituted urban area development authorities like Auda, Guda, Buda, Ruda, and other, and 113 designated area development authority. The main work or main the area of that particular authorities are to develop the basic infrastructure facility for the people who lives in the urban area. Okay, so there are the high urbanization trend in the state of the Gujarat. There are the 42% of the people who resides in the urban area of the current population. Due to rapid urbanization trend, our government of Gujarat uh, launch a launch a scheme, the Gujarat Urban Development Mission. Its statement is a creating clean, green, efficient, vibrant, and productive and sustainable cities within a reasonable time frame, with due thrust on the people's participation and public-private partnership. So the Gujarat Urban Development Mission are working to develop or improve the surrounding liability of the urban area. The main statement of the Gujarat Urban Development Mission is that creating clean, green, efficient, vibrant, productive, and sustainable city. Okay, so what is a sustainable city? So sustainable city is nothing but there are the different types of the basic infrastructure facilities, like the water supply, electricity, telecommunications, sanitation, road networks, public transportation, lighting system, street lighting system. So the sustainable city as we are talking about the sustainable city is none other than it is a kind of city which includes this type of the basic infrastructure facility inside. So creating clean, green, efficient, vibrant, productive and sustainable city within a reasonable time frame with due thrust on people's participation and public private partnership. Okay, so the first topic, the urbanization trends and how our government are reacting on that particular topic. So the second topic is the understanding of the urban management, urban governance and the service delivery. Okay, so first of all, what is a urban management? Urban management is a broad term covering a large set of function, or a city or urban settlement is not merely a set of road, building or parks, etc. So as we are talking about, the urban settlement is not only the roads, the building and the parks, playgrounds, etc. But the core function of a city is to provide inhabitants a livable environment to be it shelter, livelihood, entertainment, food, and other stuff required for the healthy living. Okay, so urban management is not only providing a roads, building, parks and other things, but it will be it the main function of a urban management is to create a particular environment for the inhabitants which are living in that particular area, or providing that the basic necessity of the people who lives in the particular location. Okay, urban management involves a coordinating and integrating public and private activities to tackle major problems the residents of the region face, with the aim of building a more competitive, equitable and sustainable city. Okay, so urban management or our government are coordinating and integrating public as well as the private activities, or public as well as private partnership, to develop such an infrastructure facility which help to improve the living standard of the people, as well as to uh, to prevent or to improve the surrounding environment of the urban area. As we know that due to the high congestion, the air pollution, noise pollution are a common problem which are going to occur in any metropolitan city. So urban management is not only to provide us suitable shelter or suitable environment to the inhabitants, but it is also a duty or to provide a meaningful or better surrounding atmosphere for the people as well as the other inhabitants. Okay, so urban management involves a coordinating and integrating public and private activities to tackle major problems the residents of a region face, with the aim of building a more competitive, equitable and sustainable city. Okay, urban management means that city government together with the other urban stakeholders, civil societies, private sectors and the local communities assume an active role in mobilization, management, and coordination of resources to support the objectives of the urban development and to ensure the vitality of the city. Okay, so it is not only a duty of the city governments, but city government works together with the urban stakeholders like the civil societies, the private sectors, and the local communities who are work in the local area, or who are committed to develop or improve the surrounding as well surrounding atmosphere or surrounding environment, are assumed to active role in the mobilization, management and the coordination of the resources. As we know that any urban area has a finite amount of resources, but with the use of the effective resource utilization, we can improve, or we can conclude to better better lifestyle as well as a better atmosphere for the inhabitants. A city hence is sustainable if it can provide all its inhabitants the environmental, social, cultural, and economic need without threatening natural, built, or societal system on which the safeguarding of this need is based. Okay, as we're talking about what is called a sustainable city, or a city hence when it called the sustainable, when it can provide all its inhabitants the environmental, social, cultural, and economic need. Okay, so there are the basic need of any inhabitants, that they need a peaceful atmosphere, a clean air, a clean water, a noise free surrounding. So it's called the environmental need. The second one is a social need, that as we know, there are the some community have a social ice age. So the inhabitants need a social breakage or the activity which bind the variety of the community in the close manner. The cultural and economic need, the cultural, like there are the different types of the entertainment zones or recreational activities or recreational places which are going to take place, and the economic need like and the economic need like the employment opportunity or the job location, and so on. So the city is called the sustainable if it can provide all its inhabitants the environmental, social, cultural, and economic need without threatening natural or built or social system on which the safeguarding of this need is based. Increasing local planning capacities, improving financial resources, guiding urban development process in an action-oriented manner, establishing institutional mechanism and procedures for the participation and democratization of a local decision-making process are just a few of the challenges urban managers, mayor, legislators, planners, as well as a service provider face to make a city a more sustainable place for the people and for the planet. So there are the different types of the action which are going to take place, like the increasing local planning capacities. Okay, so what is a local planning capacity? As we talking about the as we talk about any metropolitan area, there are the main ULB, urban local body, or in the simple manner we call it municipal corporation or municipalities. Okay, so increasing the local planning capacity, so improve them capacity, improve the capacity of the any municipal corporation for planning or to develop a surrounding atmosphere or the livelihood of the urban area. So this is the first action. The second one, improving the financial resources. As we know, without any financial support, the managers or as well as any planners does not create or implement the ideas to the actual world. So improving the financial resources, guiding urban development processes in an action oriented manner. So providing or developing a holistic urban improvement or urban development policies which are going to implement or which will be helping the planners to identify the issue as well as to reach the particular solution with the least financial budget in an action oriented manner, establishing institution mechanism and procedure for the participation and democratization of a local decision making process are just a few of the challenges urban managers are faced to make a city a more sustainable place for the people and for the planet. So next is what is a urban governance. We are talking in the past, we are talking about the urban management. So urban management is nothing but managing the various constraints of a urban area or to fulfill the gaps between the variety of the components like the financial constraint as well as the local policies or nation policies which are going to implement in that particular area. So now we are talking about what is the urban governance. The governance is an enabling environment that requires adequate legal framework, efficient political, managerial, and administrative process to enable the local government response to the need of the citizen. It can be defined as many ways that institution and individual organize the day-to-day management of a city. So what is a governance? Okay, so as we are talking about what is a management, so the management is a kind of a core principles or the core policies which are going to take place. But what is a governance? So governance is a kind of a legal framework which are going to implement that particular policies or the ideas or the solution to the actual world. So the governance is the enabling environment that requires adequate legal framework, efficient political, managerial, and administrative process. Okay, so for implementing that policies into any urban area that require a strong political, administrative support or support staff to enable that particular policies are to going to implement to enable the local government response to the need of the citizen. It can be defined as the many ways the institution and individual organize the day-to-day management of a city. Okay, so what we are talking about, we are talking always about what is a good governance and what is a bad governance. Okay, so what is a good governance? Good governance is among other things participatory, transparent, and accountable. Okay, so anything or in any urban area, the ULBs or the urban local bodies are going to take or work in that particular domain. So it's called the governance. But when it called the good governance, that it is a participatory, transparent, and accountable. So what is a participatory? The participatory means that the people or the citizen of the any urban area or the small NGOs or the local communities which are going to participate to improve or to rephrase the solution of any urban area. So the good governance is also a kind of participatory, transparent, that the each and every citizen are right to know that how that tags are going to use or utilize in any system or any implementation or any upgradation. So the transparent and accountable, it is also effective and equitable, and it promotes the rule of law. Good governance assure that political, social, and economic priorities are based on the broad consequence in the society, and that the voices of the poorest and the most vulnerable and are heard in the decision making over the allocation of the development resources. Okay, so the good governance also assure that it will not only focusing on the particular type or on any community, but the good governance also heard the voices of the poorest and the most vulnerable are heard in the decision making. So if so when there are a new decision are going to take place, the broad classification are or the broad area are to be included in the decision making. So the good governance is not only based or focus on the kind or one kind of community, like if we are talking about the richest. So the governance is not only focusing on the richest community or the people who are residing in that particular location, but the governance or good governance is assured that they are include the variety of the community or the different uh, financial communities for in the decision making. Enhancement of the quality of governance. So when so how to enhance the governance quality in any metropolitan area? The quality of governance is enhanced when the government as a whole or a public agencies in the particular become and open to new ideas and responsive to the citizen. Okay, so what is a open to new ideas? Okay, so if you are talking about any local NGOs or the local minor communities are suggest a new idea which are going to help to resolve the urban problem or the majority of the urban problem. So the governance or the municipal corporation, or as we are talking about ULBs, are open to new ideas and responsive to citizen. Okay, so responsiveness in turn is improved when the citizen are well informed and collectively seek better performances from these agencies. So responsiveness is stated as the citizen are going to brief or going to update it periodically, that how the improvement are going to take, or what are the next steps of that particular solution, or how it gonna affect our surrounding atmosphere, as well as how it will be going affect your day-to-day life. So the enhancement of the quality of the governance are to taking a new ideas and responsiveness to the citizen. So the first topic is urban management, the second one is urban or urban governance or a good governance, and the third one is a service delivery. Okay, so what service delivery is nothing but what kind of the services are delivered of the ULBs, or ULBs going to deliver this kind of services to us or to the citizen. Local governments and other local public sectors bodies are responsible for delivering the public services that people rely on day to day. Okay, so the ULBs and the local government bodies, or in the broad term, the government are responsible for delivering that particular infrastructure facility or services that people to the people which relay which affect their day-to-day life. Okay, so the example like the school for the children's, public health services, access to the clean water, clean streets, sanitation for the urban poor, and so on. So there are the different types of the basic infrastructure facility or basic infrastructure services are going to uh, delivered by the local governments. Okay, the delivery of the public service is fundamentally local in nature. Okay, there are some gaps in the service delivery, as we know, because due to the rapid urbanization, or we all know that any metropolitan cities are unplanned growth, growing unplanned. So there are some gaps in the service delivery, but with the help of the various policies and the frameworks, the urban local governments or local governments are trying to fulfill the gaps between that particular facilities. So there are the different types of the mission or the policy framework are going or established by the MOHD, Ministry of MOUD, Ministry of the Urban Development. So, in the third topic, we are talking about the Mission Amrut's priority challenges and reforms for the state. So, before starting, what is Amrut? Okay, so Amrut is a name, Atal Mission for the Rejuvenation of Urban Transformation. Okay, so it is a policy, or it is a kind of process we are going which are going to take place by the Ministry of the Urban Development. So Mission Amrut. So what is a Amrut mission? There are the variety of the objectives and the goal of the Amrut mission, that providing a sustainable city or developing a smart city in that particular state, or providing a basic infrastructure facility to the urban poor, and providing providing variety of the facilities to the each and every inhabitants of the city. So there are the different types of the priority challenges and reform for the states. So what are the Mission Amrut components, or what these components are included in the Mission Amrut? The first one is a water supply, the second is a sewerage and septage management, third one is a storm water drainage, fourth is a urban transportation, fifth is a development of a green space and parks, sixth is a capacity building, and seventh is a reform implementation. Okay, so there are the different types of the components which are going to take place. The first one is a water supply, second is a sewerage and septage management, third is a storm water drainage, fourth is a urban transportation, fifth is a development of a green space and parks, sixth is the capacity building, and seventh is a reform implementation. Okay, so water supply. So water supply system, including the augmentation of the existing water supply, water treatment plants, and the universal metering. Okay, so the first components is the water supply. So the main aim, or the main principle, or the main objective of the Amrut mission is to provide a tap water to the each and every inhabitants who are living in an urban area. So the water supply system, including the augmentation of the existing water supply, that how the existing water supply, or what are the current situation of the existing water supply, like ponds, lakes, and in any urban area, water treatment plants, or how it will be treat the water frequently, or what are the COD, BOD, and the water contamination levels are currently ongoing, and the universal metering. The second one is a rehabilitation of old water supply system, including the treatment plants. Rehabilitation of old water supply system, like if there are any water treatment plant are closed or outdated, so rehabilitation or improvement of that particular plant, regeneration of water bodies specifically for the drinking water supply, and recharging of the groundwater. So there are the kind of the policies, or there are the kind of work which are going to take placed by the government of Gujarat, that regeneration of the water bodies specifically for the drinking water supply, and recharging the groundwater, or going to take depth, or or recharging of the groundwater, special water supply arrangement for the difficult areas like the hill and coastal cities, including the those having a water quality problems. So there are the special water treatment plants, as well as the water supply systems are going to develop for providing the water to the difficult areas like the hill and the coastal cities. So the first one is a water supply, the second one is a sewerage. Sewerage system, or the decentralized network on network underground sewerage system, including the augmentation of the existing sewerage system and the sewage treatment plant. Okay, so any as we know that any urban area has a definite sewerage system which are going to collect this solid waste and the sewage or septic materials from the door to door, and going to that particular sewerage system plant or treatment plant. So the decentralization of that sewerage system are going to take place, or the network or underground sewerage system, like providing an underground pipeline or conduits to carry that kind of sewerage to the outside of the urban area. The second one is a rehabilitation of the old sewerage systems and the treatment plants. And the third one is the recycling of water for beneficial purposes and the reuse of the wastewater. Okay, as we know that there are kind of water which are recycled and used for variety of the works, not for the drinking but for the cleaning of the houses or the cleaning of the car or for the gardening purposes. So that the providing that kind of a recycling treatment plant in that particular location. uh, there are the septage, official sludge management, cleaning, transportation, and treatment in the cost-effective manner. So we are talking about the sewerage and the septage. Okay, the septage is nothing. Septage is more hazardous rather than sewerage. In sewerage, we are talking about the wastage of the kitchen sinks or the wastage of the man utensils, or that type of the material are called the severages. But what is a septage? Septage is a kind of more hazardous thing that going to take place, or that going to a proper manner or proper effective manner to for the cleaning, transportation, and the treatment. The official sludge management, that are cleaning, transport, and the treatment of that particular septage, mechanical and biological cleaning of the sewer and septic tanks, and recovery of operation cost in the full. So there are the different types of septage. They are periodically clean, mechanical as well as the biological, to prevent the bacteriological growth in that particular uh, tank or in the particular area. So the next one is a storm water drainage. As we all know that the storm water drainage are a trending topic in the any urban area or in the student, that if we are talking about any if you are talking about any new ideas that the student are come up with the storm water drainage. So the construction and improvement of the drains and storm water drains in order to reduce the elimination of the flooding, as well as to conserve that water for the reuse or for recharging the groundwater tables. So I think the storm water drainage, there are the construction or the improvements of the drain in that particular urban area for collection or the purification of the storm water for the beneficial uses for the recharging of the ground table. So next one is a urban transportation. So urban transportation is a broad term. So there are the different types of the kind of transportation facilities are going to take place, like the ferry vessel for inland waterways and buses. As we know that in Gujarat, Gogo Dahej ferry our system are going to take place, or it is working in that particular area. So the ferry vessel for the inland waterways and the buses system, the footpath, walkways, sidewalks, foot over bridges, facilities for the non-motorized transportation, like the bicycles, footpaths for the people who are traveling or who are walking at the particular roadways, multi-level parking to reduce the congestion in any urban road, and the bus rapid transit system like metro, bus rapid transit system, BRTS. And the next one, and the most recent one, is a metro. So the urban transportation is nothing but moving people from their origin home location to the destination location. It's called the transportation, or it's called the urban transportation. There are the two broad classification of urban transportation. The first one is a passenger transportation, and the second one is a cargo or goods transportation. So for providing a sustainable city, the two main components of the transportation, the passenger as well as the goods, are going to take place or going to improve for that betterment of the inhabitants. So there are the different types of the transportation facilities are going to take place. Like if you are talking about in a Ahmedabad city, the AMTS, the BRTS are working efficiently for providing or for moving the people from origin location to the destination location. the metro are going to take place for the faster movement from their origin location to the destination location. With as we know, the with the help of the better transportation, there are the high chances of the accessibility as well as the mobility, and there are high chances of getting the more employment opportunity to the people who don't have a proper private auto ownership. So this is the one major component of the urban transportation. The next one is a green space and parks. As we know, there are the requirement of the recreational activities are required in any urban area for the enhancement of the social as well as the cultural, or as well as the peace of mind, or enhance the peace of mind of the inhabitant. So development of green space and parks with a special provision for the child friendly components, like small rides which are going to take which are going to implement it at that for the children's. And so in the Amrut mission, the green space and parks is also included. uh, Next one is a reforms management and the support structure activities and the funding activities and funding support for implementation and independent reform monitoring agencies. So the reform management, or we are talking about, there are the various urban problems which are going to solve by the variety of the urban local bodies or various different agencies. So there are the different type of a reform management or the policy are going to take place that support each and everyone to how that particular problem are going to solve, and what are the ministry of the urban development Ministry of the Urban Development provides the policies or the framework for that problem. So, developing a support structure, activities, and funding support for the reform implementation, independent reform monitoring agency for providing a transparent report for that how that particular municipal corporation are going or solve, or how they are using that fund, or how they utilize this fund to solve this problem. So develop or so engaging a independent reform monitoring agencies. So next one is a capacity building. The capacity building are broadly divided in the two components: the individual capacity as well as the institutional capacity building. So what is individual capacity building? The people or the individual capacity building is nothing but guiding the particular individuals that how the urban area are going to take place, or how the urbanization are going to take place. So individual capacity building is nothing more but guiding the individual inhabitants that how in the future that it will be going to affect, or how it will be going affect in your day-to-day routine. And the second one is the institutional building, that there are the different types of the seminars and other things which are going to take place in the urban local bodies for guiding them and providing or inform that how the urban policies or urban management are going to take place. The capacity building will not be limited to the mission cities but will be extended to the other ULB as well. A continuation of the comprehensive capacity building program after its realignment towards the new mission. So there are the need of the capacity building in the college level as well as in the office level. So if we are talking about in the individual capacity, the students are going to briefly going to the students individual sorry the individual capacity building are going that to brief the student about how the urban management or how the urban policies are going to take place. And the institutional capacity building, the administrative staff or the mayors or the different types of the people who are working in the or engage in the local government are briefly provide information about how the urban management policies are going to take place, and what are the pros and cons of the urbanization, what are the trends of the urbanization. So the continuation of the comprehensive capacity building program after its realignment towards the new mission. So there are the different types of the Amrut guidelines, that e-governance, constitution and a professionalization of a municipal cadre, augmenting double entry accounting, urban planning and the city level plans, devolution of the funds and function, review of the building bylaws, set up the financial intermediary at the state level, municipal tax and fee improvement, and improvement in the levy of the collection of the users charges, improvement in the levy of and collection of user charges, energy and water audit, and the Swachh Bharat mission. Indicative list of the inadmissible components. Okay, so there are the different types of the indicative list which are inadmissible in the Amrut mission, that purchase of the land for the projects and project related work, staff salaries of both the state governments and ULBs, power, telecommunication, health, education, wage employment program, and the staff components. So this type of the components which are not included in the Amrut mission, but it will be going affect for achieving that particular goal or the objective. So there are the different types of the components which are going to take place. So in the today's lecture we are going we are understand what is the urbanization, what are the key problems are going to affect in that urbanization, and how the government will react to minimize the disadvantage or the minim or to reduce the impact of the urbanization in the urban area. So if you have any queries regarding urbanization, you can directly mail me. Just write down my mail ID, that Kushal, KUSHAL dot CHOKSHI dot Amiraj, AMIRAJ @gmail.com. So if you have any queries regarding the urbanization or that how the Amrut mission are going to take place, you can directly mail or drop a mail to me, and I will happy to help you. Okay, thank you.